Hello, beautiful. Welcome to Wife Life. Did you know that 74% of women has said that they have dated an older man or would like to marry an older man? So tonight, for you wives that have older husbands, it's going to be juicy because we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and ugly of being married to an older man. And let me just tell you, there is some benefits to being married to an older man tonight on Wife Life.
We're bringing sexy back. We're bringing sexy back.
Let's get it started. Harder, won't you give it up? What you want, body?
If you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit the subscribe button below and join all the wives from around the world that come to visit me every single Thursday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And so tonight we're going to talk about what it means to be a wife to an older man. Let's start with this. Let's look at the positives of being married to an older man. The first thing is security, right? Because we as women love to be secure, right? And when you're married to an older man, you get security. You get knowing that he is settled, that you don't have to worry about, basically all the basic things that we as women like when it comes to being in a relationship. Most older men understand what finances are. Most older men have their finances under control. They are physically secure with themselves. They know what their needs, their wants, and their desires are. So that just makes it a lot easier for you being a younger woman coming into a marriage. The second thing that older men um, possess is being confident. Most older men are confident with who they are and what they bring to the table. And statistics say that most younger women who are attracted to older men usually go for a man that is anywhere from 15 to 20 years older than themselves. Now, everybody has a little bit. Some people are 5 years, some people are 8 years or whatever. But usually, if you're going to date older and marry older, it's usually 15 to 20 years a spread between you two. And so, again, that's a pretty large gap. And we'll talk about some of the negatives that you might be facing in your marriage. But all of these challenges you can overcome if you just get to understand your husband and the way he thinks and how life is going to transition as you guys both age together, right? So he's very confident in who he is, right? Number three, an older, mature man knows how to communicate his needs, his wants, and his desires because he's lived through some things. He has been through some things and he understands that communication is the key to getting through anything. And most older men have, of course, had to navigate, his profession and had to be able to speak up for himself and lay the foundation for where he is when he wanted to retire. So if you're dating an older man, your communication should be a lot better than with a younger couple who is just really trying to find themselves and also navigate this thing called marriage. So communication between you and your older husband should be amazing. Number four, they really understand intimacy. They understand what intimacy feels like. They understand how to give you intimacy and make you feel special. They understand a woman's body. They understand most of the time what makes women tick. And so your sex life should really be going to a whole nother level. Now there is some cons to that part of your marriage that you can face if there's some health issues and stuff like that. And I'll get into that towards some of the cons of being married to an older man. But most of the time, older men know how to navigate a woman's body, which should be a plus for you, right? And they know how to make you feel good as a woman because they've had some things that happen. They have dated some women. They probably have been married before, but for most of the part, they know what your needs, your wants, and desires are as a woman. And they have no hangups about a woman's body. They have no hangups about themselves because, again, they're confident. They've been through some things. So that's all the positive things that could go on in marrying an older man. Now, some of the negatives, right, is that if the larger the age gap, the higher the divorce rate. It goes up to 95% the larger the age gap. So if you're in that 15 to 20 um, age gap range, your marriage could be very solid. But when you get into 25 and 30-year age gaps, those those marriages tend not to last. And they tend not to last for some of the things that I'm going to talk to you about now, right? They have different interests. The age gap is so wide that you have different interests, all the way down to the type of music that you enjoy, the televisions that shows that you like to enjoy as a younger woman, right? Some of the slang that is going on and the difference in the generations, bedtimes. He might, like to go to bed early and rise early. You might like to stay up late and go to, sleep late. So those can cause some difference and some stress and some strain on a marriage, right? So you just need to be very cautious, if you're already in the marriage, what this looks like and how you can navigate this if you already have said I do and you're experiencing some of these challenges just with interest, right? You might like to go to a club and he might like, what, I just want to stay at home and chill with you, right? And you don't want to feel as a younger woman that you're missing out on life because you decided to get into an older, marry an older man and get into a covenant with him. So you need to really be able to tell him, these are the things that I enjoy. Let's compromise and work those things out. Number 3, you might want children. You might want to have children with him, and he might have older children, and he might not want to go down that path of being a father again to an infant child. Again, these are some of the things that you should navigate and talk to. And if it gets to the point where it's causing a lot of stress and strain, you might want to seek professional help, like a counselor or something like that. Because again, you want to live a fulfilling life just as your spouse has, and you don't want that to be hindered, and you don't want to build up a wall between you and your spouse because you desire children and he doesn't desire children. But a lot of times we don't ask these questions. We don't dive into these things because we're in love, right? And when we get married, then we say, oh my God, we didn't ask this. We didn't ask this. I didn't ask this question. And now they're coming up and you're already in the covenant and you feel stuck. That is not the will of God for your life. And his will is that you be happy and you flow as one unit. So just make sure that you have those conversations. If you're dealing with you want a child and your husband doesn't, then make sure that you seek professional help so you guys can get on the same path, and that you might have to compromise with this, but you don't want to compromise in every area of your life so you end up feeling empty. Number 4, he might have very old-fashioned values, right? He might be stuck with things that are not relevant to what's happening now, right? And a lot of times you're like, we say, oh, that's old-fashioned, right? But some of the things that probably attracted you to your older spouse was some of the old-fashioned values, like open the car door and pulling out your chair and complimenting you and grabbing you by your hand and escorting you in and out of the restaurant. All of those old-fashioned values are some of the things that we love about older men, right? And we want to be treated that way. But some of the old-fashioned values that they might have is that you stay at home and you don't work outside of the home, and you don't have your own career, and you don't make your own money because he's able to provide for you 100%. That's not fulfilling for all women. Some women would love that. But again, you have to learn to navigate those things, and you need to learn to compromise when it comes to having these conversations with your older spouse. Because again, you only get one life, and you want to make sure that the life that you lead is one that's fulfilling and it's a give and take thing, right? So just learn to communicate again your needs, your wants, and your desire within reason, and come to a middle ground. And if you're struggling, please reach out and seek professional help. Number 5, he might be experiencing some health challenges when it comes to intimacy or just overall health in general, right? Because a lot of time as we age, right, and we're all going to age if God sees fit to leave us on this earth for any length of time, he might be experiencing some erectile dysfunction because, again, men have a male hormone drop just like we do for as women and go into menopause. And so he might be experiencing some erectile dysfunction. He might display that he pulls away because most men are not going to talk about if they're not able to sexually please you, especially as a younger woman, right? So he might be trying to navigate that. It could be frustrating for you because you want to engage in regular sex because you're younger, you have more stamina and all those kind of things. And if he's not able to arise to the occasion, it could cause some stress and strain in the marriage. And that was another reason why I wrote the book, Praying for the Penis, A Wife's Guide to Understanding a Male Sexual Health, because all men, not most, all men will experience a hormone drop where they're not able to perform or they're not able to stay erect in order to have meaningful, quality sex. It's not all the time, but it will happen. And so I really focus in on trying to get wives to understand that it's natural, it's fixable, but you have to be able to communicate and navigate against all of these challenges that you will ultimately face, especially if you're dealing with an older man, right? And you don't want to kill his ego. You don't want to make him feel inadequate, but you need to have these conversations. And so again, being married to an older man can bring you so many rewards. It can bring you financial security. It can be a confidence boost. It can expose you to things that you probably wouldn't be exposed to dealing with a younger man. But again, we all will face challenges in our marriage, whether we're married to someone in the same generation or someone of an older generation or a lesser generation. So my prayer is that this teaching has brought you some insight. Again, I have some amazing resources for you. Praying for the Penis is one if you're dealing with a husband that is facing some different challenges. I also have an amazing ebook called Help Him Rise Naturally, where I give you some natural remedies that you can introduce into your husband's diet to help him stay erect and deal with his erectile dysfunction. It also has an amazing little fruit cocktail concoction smoothie that you can make up in the back of the book to really help him get on the journey of being healthy and well in all areas, and especially in your marriage. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I hope that this information was valuable to you. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure that you tune in to me every single Thursday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time for Wife Life with Gail. I will see you next Thursday.
Let's get it started. Harder, won't you give it up? What you invited, we're gonna start it as we're one.